company?
Yeah, so my name is Jordan Schwarzenberger. I'm the co-founder of Arcade Media, and yeah, as a co-founder, I run everything alongside my other two co-founders, Aaron and Sam, is the managers of the Sidemen, who are the biggest YouTube group in Europe.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your previous experience?
Yeah, so I found myself here through knowing Aaron when we worked together at YMU. So YMU are a big talent management company. I was the chief creative officer there for 4 years after a spell at Vice, after dropping out of university, and then Lab Bible following Vice. So then I went to YMU, and me and Aaron were working together there at the time. He was on the accountancy side of that business. I was sitting centrally as the CCO. We always got on really well, and he'd always like bring his clients in to basically do these workshops with me, and we kind of run these fun like little management meetings with clients that he had on the business management side of things. He then met Sam, and Sam is an incredible accountant who runs a business called Starbucks inside a bigger accountancy firm called Carpenter Box. And he has been on the forefront of creator accounting in the UK. So he looks after every big creator you could imagine in the country for their accounts. And he met Aaron. Aaron then said, right, you need to meet Jordan. We all came together. And he'd had this idea in his head that the Sidemen could do so much more than they were currently doing, that there was this huge opportunity, the biggest, most culturally relevant creators in the country, but didn't really have much around their brand other than their content operation and their clothing brand. So the conversation was, right, well, actually, guys, there's so much more to be done here. We sat down with them and said, this is the vision and the strategy. Do you want to go and do it? And they said, yeah. So that was, yeah, kind of 3 years ago now, I think. Literally 1st of April, although it wasn't a joke, it wasn't April Fool's, but 1st of April 2021 was when we started.
How would you describe the Sidemen, and why have they been so successful?
So the Sidemen are 7 friends who originally started playing GTA together back in 2013 and started making videos about it as a group. They all had individual channels and were sort of starting their YouTube journey as creators on their own back, but then they came together as a group, and people just fell in love with watching them together, right? They saw this group of 7 real friends build their friendship in real time, broadcast it out in real time, and I think everybody who watched them, and especially from my generation, you just grew up watching these guys grow, watching them evolve creatively, watching them just interact with each other and have fun, and you felt like you were part of the group. And so they had this real attraction, I think, for anybody who looked at what they were doing and said, you know, I can relate to that. There's a saying that I think Ethan says quite a lot, where everyone can see themselves in one of the Sidemen, right? There's always one of them that you can relate to. And I think that caused this sort of infectious spiral where they just grew and grew and grew. And by the time, you know, that they really kind of took off, I think, just before COVID and during COVID, really, but just before COVID, they'd built this unbelievable audience that were top. COVID then accelerated that to another degree. Off the back of that, they came out and, you know, were making videos at a production level that was, you know, a lot higher than anybody else doing it in the space. And it just went from strength to strength. We then met the guys, I think they were on 8 million subs. At the point where we met them back in 2021, they're now on 20 million. And they've just gone on this incredible, another leg of their journey where the ideas are bigger and better. Sidemen Sundays, which is their sort of tentpole show that they do every week. They're doing something bigger and more extravagant and exciting and funny. But again, the core is always the same. It's 7 friends coming together and having fun. And that's the bit that people always come back to.
How do you navigate the challenges of managing the Sidemen?
I mean, I think for me, it's about having people who are better than you running the things that they're experts at rather than trying to do it all yourself. I think it's a big it's a big ethos that we have in this business. I think we shouldn't be doing the things that we're not world class at, and I don't think anybody should. For example, we launched Sides fried chicken restaurant chain, which is now up to like 6, well, it was at its peak, I think 100 ghost kitchens. We've come down and re-engineered it to be physical sites. I think it's up to about 6. It's going to roll out 100 over the next 5 years is the plan. And Sides is growing, killing it. People love the product, it's doing really well. We have no idea how to run a fried chicken business and have no interest in running one, okay? It's a long, horribly techie and difficult business, which you need experts to run. So our partner on that business, a company called Hero Brands, they are responsible for a number of the biggest franchises in the UK in food, like German Doner Kebab, Island Poke, Chopaluna. They know food better than anybody. So you guys do the food, you do the operations, you make the nuts and bolts of this business work, and we'll bring the brand, the product development, the marketing, we'll, you know, lean in creatively, we will drive it with you, and that's a good partnership. And I think that's an ethos for everything we do. Find partners who are world-class in their thing. We bring what we're great at, i.e. marketing, creativity, understanding culture, understanding how to bring the Sidemen into these verticals, come together, and you've got something hopefully quite special.
Which part of your role do you enjoy the most?
I've been quite close to Sides and vodka, even though I don't drink, ironically. I've never actually tried our vodka brand, but people say it's really good. But Sides and XIX are the two brands that I think I've enjoyed working on the most because I'm the closest to them. The reason being is because to see their journey and to see their growth, and to see the challenges as well, right, around going into retail, the expenses of alcohol and taxes on stamp on import duty and everything else. The learnings that I've had on a personal level by working on those brands in industries that I would never have previously thought I'd be touching. And also, we're looking to launch a number of other products and brands and various projects that we're working on. Just the ability to bring their incredible audience and the access to that amazing fan base to try and provide value to that fan base in new and exciting ways. Like, for me, that is just the most exciting job creatively in the world. Like, I'm a creative person in terms of my background, and to be able to apply that thinking to this massive audience and give them something great, like that's the best thing. So
what's the most challenging part of your job?
Yeah, I think it is around saying no. I'm not a very good person at saying no. I think Steve Jobs said, like, the measure of your success is how many great ideas you say no to. And I think I suck at saying no to things because there's always something shiny. And that's something that's another reason why it's amazing to have co-founders, especially co-founders who are accountants, right? A little bit more prudent, a little bit slower, in a good way. And we balance each other out really well, where they can actually hold back. I think Aaron often says that I'm the gas, he's the brakes. There's one analogy just with him, and I think that makes a lot of sense, and that's why our partnership works well. So that's the bit that I probably find hardest, is saying no. I'm more of a people pleaser type as well, so it's just getting dragged into things that I shouldn't probably be doing. That's the bit that I struggle with, but I think I've gotten better with that over time, and I think it's having a bigger team, more delegation, more experts doing what they do. It does mean you can do more, but it's just about being, I think, prudent about what you commit to, right?
What is your proudest career achievement?
I think having, you know what? I'll say my proudest career achievement, us bringing Victor as manager director of Arcade, is actually, I think, my proudest career moment, because we ended up basically building for 2 years without him there, something like that, maybe a year and a half. And then he came in, he was running Side Plus, he came in to become MD of Arcade, and he's now created this amazing ship. It means that we're able to elevate and look up. And my personal marker of success is how much are you in the weeds doing the work and how much you're able to look up and actually look at what's next and plan ahead. And I think if you get dragged into the weeds, it's very difficult to progress, right? So I think my biggest career achievement is actually the fact that all of us now are able to look up because we have somebody like Victor in place. He's built this amazing team under him, and we are free to essentially build and progress and look at new things and continue the growth of all the things that we're currently doing. So yeah, whenever that was, I think it was because it was when we also agreed the Sidemen doc was when he came on to become ND. So I think it was about a year and a half ago, something like that.
Do you have an ultimate career goal? No,
I've never been into goals. Sounds really weird, but like I've never been one for planning steps of well, I want to be here and then here and then here. And I think reason being is that you're not in control of 99% of things that go on. I think it's more about how do you do an amazing job every day? How do you continue to free yourself up to look ahead and look up? Bring better people to look down and work with better and better partners. And I think that just happens naturally the more you do. So I think it's more a daily goal of trying to be present, trying to do the best job, trying to put more in, and then the more you put in, the more you get out, so you get the same outcome, rather than saying, right, I want to be here, and if I'm not at this level, then I've somehow failed. I think it also kills the journey a little bit.
What do you see as the biggest opportunities and challenges facing content creators?
So for creators, I think the biggest opportunities are in building smaller, more focused communities which have a direct commercial relationship rather than being reliant on brands. I think nowadays, because views are cheap, because there's so many creators out there, personality and value is more important, and we're on a value matrix rather than even just a popularity matrix. It's about how much value can you provide. That correlates to how much commercial success you can have. So to build a business today as a creator is really hard if it's purely around, for example, entertainment. There are exceptions, but generally they're not commercial businesses because there's so many entertainers. Simple supply and demand economics, you have too much supply and your price comes down, right? So I think we're in that stage right now where anyone on TikTok can get 1 million views. What makes you stand out? And that's about how much value can you truly provide to somebody on the other end. So I think the biggest opportunity is focusing on value, focusing on smaller, more focused communities, not looking at scale and vanity metrics as markers of success, but driving connection as the #1 filter, or as a #1 metric of, are you doing a good job? How many people truly connect with you? And if you were to do, it's always the thing, if you were to put on a pop-up down the street, how many people would really show up? Because I think 99% of creators would probably have very, very few people, if anybody, coming out. And that shows that there isn't connection there.
In what ways do you think the creator industry can continue to evolve and improve?
I think it can improve by sort of linked to my last answer, by focusing more as an industry on connection rather than on big numbers and vanity metrics. I think we've had a number of years focused on big shiny numbers of success, and that filters into brands who are focused more on awareness because they can prove to their marketing manager they're doing a good job, whatever. There's the wrong kind of lens I think a lot of brands and creators look at to see if they're succeeding, and I think that's going to get more brutal as time goes on because there's more and more creators in existence. So I think as an industry people need to focus more on connection, and that is the fundamental thing, and therefore those who are succeeding and doing well, maybe they don't have millions of followers but they have a really connected audience who will show up for them. That's a greater success story than the person with 10 million followers who can't sell a bunch of t-shirts or whatever it might be. So I think it's focusing on that. That should be the thing for brands, for creators, for everybody in the space, in my mind.
Yeah. In your opinion, why should brands be investing in influencer marketing?
I would say it's the greatest opportunity to get reach and get noise for cheap right now than has ever been before, and that's because of TikTok and short form. I think today, if you as a brand are, and this sort of goes against maybe how the Sidemen, right, even, and creators like them have traditionally made money. I think, you know, the creators who are big, those brand deals that maybe were massive, they're kind of gone now, right? And that's because most brands today understand logically that if you can spend £100,000 with one creator, £50,000 with one creator, and you're going to get potentially X amount of views, why would I be doing that when I could spend that 100K with 100 creators, each paying them £1,000 and get arguably 100 times the amount of views, right? And because there's such a decentralization of views and of reach today, if you're a brand, like, this is the opportunity to be going absolutely crazy on micro influencers, on organic social, on building yourself as a creator. I think the other thing that brands need to understand is the personal branding opportunity for CEOs, for founders, for people on a business journey has again never been more exciting. The personal stories, like M&S do it so well, for example, with their store TikToks, right? And knowing the team behind that and the strategy, genius. You decentralize social, you open it up, you humanize it, and the value of M&S keeps going up, and then they're voted like the #1 retailer in the country or supermarket in the country for the 3rd year running or something this year, because they've understood that it's about connection and about people. So I think the brands today, it's the biggest opportunity ever, but they have to be quick enough and not so sort of sluggish and old school to just take it, and that requires a level of bravery, but ultimately the return could be massive if they get it right.